We have arrived at the catalogue of a favourite. One Jesus Franco has made his introduction to this series. For this discussion we have 1963's Jaguar, a very early film for Franco, and one of his only, if not his only, Western genre outings. Set in Venezuela in 1963, the civil war rages on, the tyranny of local governors is a bane upon the people. And so, out of the wilderness strikes Jaguar. Jaguar is a brave vigilante outlaw, upholding the law for those who it most neglects, the poor. Why I wanted to discuss this film is primarily due to its extremely tasteful, albeit modest, direction. It has a striking, starkly cold aesthetic. The cinematography in this film is very considered, imbued of a real finesse and style. I imagine you may be able to get an idea from the screenshots placed amongst this video. Throughout his extensive career, Franco crafted somewhat simple, though sometimes substantially subtextual, genre affairs imbued of outstanding filmmaking. Often the films are highly pornographic in nature, and yet he delivers a kind of aesthetic classiness perhaps not unlike the Marquis de Sade he adapted so eagerly. Many a European Western made no effort to command technical filmmaking proficiency. Characters like Leone obviously accepted. The average consumer of a Leone film does not realize the depths of the spaghetti bowl. There are some cheap productions you can find. Some of these westerns are lazier than American westerns of the 1930s, say, though those American westerns in question were not precisely lazy nearly as often in any case. In Jaguar, however, we have a low-budget European western which orders framing, lighting, and blocking with firm authority. I recall my first viewing of this film was with one username Fort Repellent, real name Gulen Dode, the runner-up of the iCheck Movies Forum's Western Challenge of 2019. This was amongst his trawl that year. He, a notable Western devotee, and not one to romanticize the spaghetti Western, or Jesus Franco's work for that matter, found himself, like myself, rather admiring the picture. It is currently the highest ranked of only 3 Franco pictures on the legendary Memory Mash list. The other 2, as of this video's publication, are The Diabolical Dr. Zed and Attack of the Robots. I'd call that a fine endorsement indeed. So this title comes recommended. As you can see from the screenshots, you won't be able to find the film in very high quality, unfortunately, but you ought to be able to note its refined aesthetics even so. There are many Jesus Franco films I consider myself a fan of, and I'd actually say this is amongst my favourites of his work. Having made his first feature in 1959, Jaguar is a very early entry of his canon, and yet was already his 10th film released. Remarkably productive even at that stage. Amazing. So if you're still interested, and if you can find it, check out Jesus Franco's Jaguar.